Welcome back, students. This afternoon, I'm going to read a nonfiction book to you about St. Patrick's Day. Well, this book about St. Patrick's Day is by Gail Gibbons. And if you'll remember, we've read some other information books by Gail Gibbons, and she's kind of interesting because she writes information books, but she doesn't use photographs for the books. She uses her own illustrations. And that's kind of different because a lot of information books use real photographs of the things they are teaching about. But Gail Gibbons uses detailed drawings. So St. Patrick's Day by Gail Gibbons. And on the front, I see a little leprechaun. I see a lot of symbols for St. Patrick's Day. I see, this must be St. Patrick. I recognize him from one of the other photos we saw, or a drawing, an old drawing of him. And on the back, also, there's the symbol of the shamrock. Okay. Oh, and there's a shamrock. Oh, and there's some other kind of symbol. It looks like a log with a green ribbon on it, and then it's on a stick, mounted on a stick. I wonder what that is. I bet we'll learn about it in the book. Oh, and here's a big, beautiful title page with more beautiful, detailed illustrations. There's a bird, maybe a dove. A dove is a symbol for peace. And here on this side, I see that log thing again. I see a harp. A harp is a kind of instrument that's used in Irish music. And I also see another kind of instrument, a really big, long kind of flute thing, maybe. St. Patrick's Day by Gail Gibbons. St. Patrick's Day is celebrated each year on March 17th. Oh, I think this part is going to be about St. Patrick and where he came from. This holiday is celebrated by the Irish and other people in many parts of the world. They honor St. Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland. St. Patrick lived many years ago. He was born in Britain around the year 380 and raised in a Christian family. His parents didn't name him Patrick. Some people believe his name was Maewyn. Oh, it looks like he must have been a shepherd. He must have taken care of sheep when he was little. Let's see. While still a boy, he was kidnapped and brought to Ireland, where he was made a slave. His captors forced him to herd sheep. He prayed that God would help him. 6 years later, he escaped. Oh, so being a shepherd was part of what he had to do when he was enslaved. After finally arriving back in Britain, he lived quietly, thought and prayed. He realized what he wanted to do. He had dreams of returning to Ireland to teach the people about God. He went to France, that's another country in Europe, to study religion. In the year 432, the head of the Catholic Church, the Pope, named him Patricius, the Latin name for Patrick. He became a priest and then a bishop. So that means he wasn't just the leader of one church like a priest. It means that he was a leader over lots of people, lots of churches, and lots of Christians. At last, Bishop Patrick's dreams came true. He sailed back to Ireland and began preaching. He built churches and schools all over the country. People noticed his kind ways and trusted him. Bishop Patrick spent the rest of his life caring for the Irish people. They loved this kind man. People honor Patrick on March 17th because he died on that date in the year 461. Later, the Catholic Church made him a saint, Saint Patrick. Today, many things are done to celebrate this holiday. People go to church to give thanks to St. Patrick for his work in Ireland. People have fun too. They dress in green to honor an ancient Irish custom. Hundreds of years ago, the people of Ireland burned branches with green leaves during the month of March and spread the ashes in fields to make them fertile and green. To wear green is to honor Ireland, the Emerald Isle. Oh, so it's like the people in the countryside were doing things to get the soil ready for planting. When they burned wood and spread the ashes, that made the soil more healthy so that it would be ready to grow plants better. Decorations are put on doors and windows. Shamrocks appear everywhere. The shamrock is a plant that has 3 leaves and looks like clover. It is the symbol of St. Patrick as well as of Ireland. Leprechauns are remembered on St. Patrick's Day. Long ago, some Irish folk believed in these little magic creatures. It was thought that if you caught a leprechaun, you could make him lead you to a pot of gold. Oh, I'm making a connection to Jamie O'Rourke and the big potato. Leprechaun comes from the old Irish word lucorpan, meaning wee one. Wee, that means tiny, wee. People believed they were only as big as your thumb. There is the shillelagh, too. Shillelagh, that must be maybe what this thing is. In Ireland many years ago, there was an old oak forest called shillelagh. The Irish liked to own a sprig of shillelagh, a short oak club from the forest. Often people decorate shillelaghs with green ribbons. I hope I'm saying that right. I'll have to look that up. The harp is one of the oldest musical instruments and has been popular with the Irish people since early times. It serves as another St. Patrick's Day decoration. On St. Patrick's Day, people may give cards to their families and friends. People also make cakes, cookies, and goodies to share with others. And sometimes they make them green. Some people give flowers. Others wear green carnations or pin shamrocks to their clothes to celebrate the holiday. There may be St. Patrick's Day plays, too. Some families and friends have quiet times together in remembrance of St. Patrick. Often there are meals to share. St. Patrick's Day parties are given too. It is fun to sing Irish songs, dance Irish jigs, and play games. Wow, now I'm really making a connection to the photographs of those girls with those beautiful dresses, the girls who do Irish step dancing. We saw that in yesterday's book. In many places there are St. Patrick's Day parades. Flags flutter in the wind, pipers and fiddlers. So pipers are people who play these pipes, these kinds of flutes. Fiddlers are people who play a violin in a kind of a country style. They play Irish tunes. There are green hats, people in costumes, green banners, lots of green. The first time St. Patrick's Day was celebrated in the United States was in 1737 in Boston. That's before we were even the United States. Each year, the Irish and many other people love to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. For many people, it is a day for worship and for celebration. And if you're not Irish, to feel a little bit Irish. Oh, wow. And if you'll remember, at the end of a lot of Gail Gibbons' books, she adds some facts at the end, like fun facts at the end of her book. So the heading here tells me these are different legends about St. Patrick. St. Patrick and the snakes. It is said that St. Patrick got rid of all the snakes in Ireland. By beating his drum, he frightened them into the sea. Today, there are no snakes in Ireland. Here's the picture of that. Here's St. Patrick and the poison. Some people say that a wizard tried to kill St. Patrick by putting poison in his drink. St. Patrick quickly turned it into ice and tossed it from his cup. St. Patrick and his cloak. It is said that St. Patrick had a friend who borrowed his cloak. His cloak is like his big, heavy kind of cape, coat thing. There was a big fire where the friend was staying, but he was not hurt because he was wearing St. Patrick's cloak. St. Patrick and the Shamrock. St. Patrick used the shamrock to explain to people about the Holy Trinity, one God in three divine beings, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Growing at his feet was a shamrock. He used this plant to explain three in one stem with three leaves. So there's four different fun facts. 3 of them are legends about St. Patrick. Oh, there's some more. This is great. St. Patrick and the fish. Another legend is that each year on March 17th, fish rise from the sea. They pass before St. Patrick's altar in Ireland and then disappear back into the sea. Wow, it's like they're jumping out to honor St. Patrick and they go back in the water. And then St. Patrick and the sunset. It is said that the sun didn't set when St. Patrick died and that it shone in the sky for 12 days and nights. There's the pictures for that. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning more about St. Patrick's Day from Gail Gibbons. And since you have to do something at the end of a book, I want you to think about what you're going to do. What would you go back to look at and think about in this book? I have to say, I really enjoyed the title page because it had such a big, beautiful illustration with lots of really nice symbols, showing all the nice symbols to do with Ireland and St. Patrick's Day. And I also like that it has a dove, and a dove is a symbol for peace. Well, I hope you enjoyed learning more about St. Patrick's Day and also early today, the fun book about the gingerbread man and the leprechaun. That's it for today. Please be sure to remember to wash your hands, cover your coughs and sneezes. Be sure to get out and get some exercise, help your family around the house, do a little bit of reading and a lot of writing. And don't forget to set your goals. Remember, I talked about that earlier this morning. I'll be interested to hear from you about what kind of goals you're setting. And maybe I'll have to think of some goals, more goals for my brain, because I've got a body goal. I think I need a brain goal and a family goal. Well, I have lots of projects to get done around the house, so I have plenty of family goals. Anyway, take care. I love you guys. I miss you. Elbow bump.